Hello, good morning all of you. In the last class, we discussed our Roman Empire and Arab Empire. Last two sections, you studied that. Today we are going to study three important empires. So, first one, Mongol Empire, then Ottoman Empire, and another one, Mali Empire. Okay, so before entering the class, today there is a duty for you, or we can say there is some work for you. So, you please divide into three groups, and I will give you some topics. That means you have to find out the important points related with each empire. Okay, so please change your seat and sit into three groups. Then select one leader also for each group. Okay, speed up. Yeah. So, which empire do you want? Ottoman Empire. Okay. Then, your group? Okay. Mali Empire. Then, your group? Mongol Empire. Okay. So, now you select your empires. Which are the Mongol Empire, then Mali Empire and Ottoman Empire. Okay. I will give you 5 minutes. So, within that time, you have to complete the important points related with each empire. Okay. Speed up. Okay, completed. Yeah. Then, which group first come here? Okay, Ottoman Empire. Yeah, very good. Who is your leader? Lulu. Okay, warm welcome Lulu. Please come here and submit your points. All other two groups, listen here. What are the important points of Lulu?
Hi friends, good morning to all. I am Lulu Nesrin MC. Here I am going to say some important points about Ottoman Empire. We have studied in the last class about Eastern Roman Empire. Haven't we studied? Yeah. We studied that the Eastern Roman Empire declined by the conquer of Constantinople by the Turks people in 1453 CE. It was Muhammad II who conquered Constantinople in 1453 and he established Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was very vast empire and many territories of Eastern Roman Empire became the part of the Ottoman Empire. And the famous Ottoman ruler was Suleiman, and he also called as Al-Qanun, which means the lawgiver. And the important works or the famous works or activities of Suleiman was he codified the laws of Ottoman Empire and he established a centralized administration in his vast empire. And the Ottoman Empire disintegrated after First World War.
Okay, now I hope that all of you have got the important points about Ottoman Empire. Okay, so before entering that or before studying Ottoman Empire, we can revise some important points. We studied what's the important reason for the decline of Eastern Roman Empire. What was the important reason? Yes, it is the decline of Constantinople. Then which year Constantinople declined or conquered by Turkish people? Yes, it was 1453. Okay, that you studied. Today you are studying who was that ruler. Who was that ruler? Yes, it was Muhammad II. So he conquered Constantinople in which year? In 1453. So the Eastern Roman Empire came to an end. So after that, Muhammad II established another empire. It is known as Ottoman Empire. Okay, so first point you have to study that Ottoman Empire founder was Muhammad II. So he conquered Constantinople and he established his own empire. It is known as Ottoman Empire. Okay, then he expanded his empire by conquering some neighboring places. Then the famous ruler of this empire was Suleiman. He is also known as Al-Qanun, or we can say the lawgiver. He was a famous emperor, a well-known or good administrator, and he implemented so many world development programs in his own empire. He codified the Turkish laws, or we can say the laws prevailed in that empire. He unified, he codified into a modern shape. Okay. Then he implemented a centralized ruling system in his own country. Then during his time, during the rule of Suleiman, so many European countries joined with his own empire, and they understood what was the power of Asian army, or what was the power of army from Ottoman rulers or Ottoman empires. Okay, then this empire came to an end after First World War. So these are the important points you have to keep in mind while you study about which empire. Yes, Ottoman Empire. So once again, the founder was Muhammad II. He implemented this empire in which year? 1453. That means at the time of after the conquering of Constantinople. Then the famous ruler was Suleiman. He is also known as Al-Kanuni, or we can say the law giver. Okay, then he codified the laws of his own empire. Then he implemented a centralized administration. Then so many European countries joined with his empire, and they understood the power of Asian army from that people, or we can say Ottoman Empire. Then this empire came to an end, or this empire started to disintegrate after the First World War. Okay, now we can invite the second group, that is Mongol Empire. Then who was the leader? Yes, Kabir. Okay, Kabir, please come and present your point here. All of you listen here.
Good afternoon, all of you. I am Ahmed Kabir. Now I will discuss about the Mongolian Empire in front of you. All of you welcome. I think somebody are known about the Mongolian Empire. The Mongolian ruling region between the Russia and China in Central Asia. It has vast meadows and deserts and mountains. There the climate is extreme. There were nomads, they lived in tents. Genghis Khan is the famous Mongolian ruler. He unified the whole tribe and founded the Mongolian Empire. Okay, understand? Next I say about the features of Mongolian army. The army was strong cavalry. They used cannons while sitting on the horseback. The Mongolian ruler Genghis Khan maintained a well-organized espionage. Courier is the name of Mongolian postal system.
Okay, now you got some important points about Mongol Empire. Okay, then I'm going to revise the points of Kabir. First of all, you have to keep in mind that it's a region that lies between Russia and China in which continent, that means Asia continent, or we can say the central part of Asia. So we can say that it's a region that lies between Russia and China in Central Asia. Okay, then another important geographical feature of this Mongol Empire was that this region has vast grasslands, or we can say it has vast meadows. Okay, meadows means grasslands, and some areas are covered with desert, and this region has also mountains. So we can say the geographical divisions of this empire, or we can say Mongol Empire. First one, it has vast meadows, then it has mountains, and it has desert region also. Then next point about its climate. Its climate was so extreme climate. Extreme climate means unbearable hot during the summer season and unbearable cold during the winter season. That's the meaning of extreme climate. That means we can't suffer the hot and the cold of the climate here. Okay, so now you study where is its position. It lies in between Russia and China, in which part of which continent? The central part of Asian continent. Then it has vast meadows, then mountains and desert area. The next one is the climate was extreme climate. Then here also one famous ruler, his name was Genghis Khan. Okay. Then the people who lived here were nomads. You study who were nomads. Nomads were, they do not keep a particular place as their settlement, or they are not at all ready to settle in a particular place. So they shift from one place to another place in search of food, water, and some other purposes. Okay, so they used horses for the journey from one place to another. So Genghis Khan understood this. So he unified all that people and he constructed or he made or he established a famous empire. It is known as Mongol Empire. Okay, then he unified the codes or the laws of his own country into a particular model. Then the important feature of this dynasty was their army. Their army had a lot of very cunning, powerful cavalry. Cavalry means horse soldier. And during the time of war, they used small cannons. Cannon means actually it's a big gun, but they prepared small cannons and they can use by sitting on the horseback. Then the center or the seat of power during this time was Karakoram. Okay, so these are the important points about Mongol Empire. First one is a region lies between Russia and China in Central Asia. Then second point is geographical point, that means it has vast meadows, or we can say grassland, mountains and deserts. Then another important point about its climate was extreme climate. Then another important point, the famous ruler was Genghis Khan. Then one important point about the people were nomads. Okay, so Genghis Khan unified all these people into one group and he established his own famous empire. It is known as a Mongol Empire. Clear? Then the army, they had very well-planned, strong army. The important feature of their army was their own cavalry, or we can say horse soldier. Then they had used small cannons as when they conduct war with some other countries. And the important feature of this cannon was it can use by sitting on the horseback. Clear? Then they used, that means Genghis Khan, he was a very cunning ruler. So he implemented or he organized some special secret group. It is espionage group. Okay, so keep it in mind, there is a special secret group or he kept a special espionage. Okay, the work was to evaluate, to check what are the activities or what were the activities of the rulers or the people in their own country. Then another important feature of this empire was that they had kept a very planned, well-known, what we can say, communication system. You know that at that time there was no mobile phone, there was no internet, or there was no such facilities. So they used some horses to send the messages from one place to another, and it is a particular postal system with the help of horses. So that particular postal system is known as courier system. So this is very important one. Every question paper you can expect this question. What do you mean by courier? So courier system is a postal system implemented by Genghis Khan for the convenience of better administration. Okay, so these are important points you have to keep in mind when you study which dynasty, the Mongol Empire. Okay, so which empire? Mongol Empire. So the last one more empire is here, that is which empire? Okay, Mali Empire. I think that the Mali groups are ready to say their own points. So who was your leader? Okay, Salim. Okay, Salim, warm welcome. Please come here and you present your points. Okay, all of you listen. We can hear what are the points Salim is going to say here.
Hello, good morning all. I'm Salim. I'm here to say a few words on the topic, the Mali Empire. So you guys know who's the Mali Empire? He was a famous empire in the medieval Africa. Capital was Mali in the Western Africa. The famous ruler's name was Kankan Musa. In the European records, he was also known as Mansa Musa. Mali was so wealthy because they have a huge amount of treasure of gold. Timbuktu was the famous commercial and cultural center. Merchants from Venice, Granta and Genoa came here for marketing gold and ivory. So which all places? Venice, Granta and Genoa. And this place was also known as the center of slaves. Even they also have a famous university. Great mosque made by Kankan Musa was famous center of Islamic studies. So I think you understand what I thought. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay, now we have got the important points about which empire. Okay, Mali Empire. Then what's the first point? Yeah, this empire lies in the medieval Africa. Okay, so Mali Empire lies in medieval Africa. Then which was its capital? Yes, its capital was Mali. then Mali lies which part of Africa? West part of Africa. So the important feature of this empire was that this empire was the most famous or powerful empire in the medieval Africa, and the capital was Mali. It was in West Africa. Then who was the famous ruler? Yes, it was Kangan Musa. Okay, the famous ruler was Kangan Musa. Then in European records, he has another nickname. What was that? Yes, Mansa Musa. Okay, so Kangan Musa was the famous ruler of Mali Empire, and in European records, he has another nickname. It is known as Mansa Musa. Okay, then Mali was so rich place because it has a lot of gold treasure. So this place or this empire was so wealthy one. Okay, then another important feature of this empire was that there was a famous city here. The name of that city was Timbuktu. So please remember that point. Please note that point. It was Timbuktu. It was a very important city for cultural and commercial activities. And, okay, so because of that, so many traders, or we can say merchants from different places. That means Venice, then Genova, then Granada. From these places, merchants came here and they exchanged or they sold the products of gold and ivory, etc. Okay, so this Timbuktu was very famous for commercial activities and cultural activities. And another important feature of Timbuktu was it was a famous center of slave trade. You know what is slave? Okay, lower class you have heard that. So this place was so important or very famous for slave trade also. Okay, so you have to keep in mind the important places from where merchants reach here. Which were that places? First one Venice, then Genova, and then next one Granada. Okay, so this was the important places from where merchants came here for trading purpose, and they exchanged the products like gold, ivory, etc. Then another important feature of this was it is a famous center for slave. Then there was a famous university here. Then that university was a good center of education also. Then another important feature of Timbuktu was there was a famous mosque. It is created by Kangan Musa. The mosque is known as Great Mosque. Okay, so that Great Mosque was the main center for Islamic ideologies. Okay, so these are the important points you have to study about Mali Empire. Okay. Now we can write the important points related with. So I am going to write on the board. So please take down all the points in your notebook. Okay. Okay, first of all I am going to write about Ottoman Empire. So please write Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire. Okay, then first point is founder. It was Muhammad II. So please write the founder Muhammad II. Next point, famous ruler. Famous ruler. It was Suleiman. Suleiman. Okay. Then he is also known as a particular name. So please note that point. Al-Kanuni. Or we can say the lawgiver. Al-Kanuni means the lawgiver. The famous ruler was Suleiman. Then he is also known as another name. It was Al-Kanuni, the meaning the lawgiver. Then what are the important points you have to keep in mind about Al-Kanuni? That is, he codified Ottoman rules. He codified rules of Ottoman Empire. Okay. Then at the point, he implemented centralized administration. He implemented centralized administration. He implemented centralized administration. Okay, he implemented a centralized administration in his own country. Then one more point, this Ottoman Empire came to an end after First World War. After First World War. Okay, these are the important points you have to keep in mind about Ottoman Empire. Over. Okay, now we are going to study the next empire, that is Mongol Empire. So please write Mongol Empire. Mongol Empire. Okay, so first point, it lies between Russia and China. It lies between Russia and China. That's the first point. It lies between Russia and China. Then, now we are going to study what are the important geographical features. So, we can write vast meadows, then desert, then mountain. Clear? The next one is climate, that is extreme climate. Extreme climate. Then another important point, people were nomads. People were nomads. Okay. Then famous ruler Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was the famous ruler. Clear? Then we can say the important feature of their army. The feature of their army was, first point, cavalry. Cavalry. Then another important point you can add, they used cannons. Okay. The next point, Genghis Khan had kept a good espionage. Espionage means a secret group for helping the king. Okay, espionage. The next point, they had a postal system. Postal system. It is known as courier. So these are the points you can write about Mongol Empire. Over. Then now we can write the important points about Mali Empire. Mali Empire. Okay, the first point, it is the famous empire of medieval Africa. So please note that point, medieval Africa. Medieval Africa. Then, second point, capital. The capital was Mali. It was in West Africa. West part of the Africa. Clear? Kangan Musam was the famous ruler. Kangan Musa was the famous ruler. Kangan Musa was the famous ruler. Okay. In European records, he is also known as Mansa Musa. Note that. Mansa Musa. Then, another important point, this Mali Empire was so wealthy. So wealthy because they had huge treasures of gold. Treasures of gold. Treasures of gold. Clear? Then the famous city was Timbuktu. Timbuktu. Timbuktu was the famous city here. Then that city was famous for trade and commerce. Trade and commerce. Then the city was very famous for slave trade. Timbuktu was very famous center for trade and commerce. Then it was also very famous for slave trade. Then another one, there was a famous university. So we can say it was a famous center for education also. Then there was a famous mosque. It is known as Great Mosque. Great Mosque. It is constructed by Kangan Musa. Then it was a famous center for Islamic ideologies. Okay. Islamic ideas. So these are the important points you have to study about Mali Empire. Now, it is the time for winding up. So, I am going to stop here. Study very well. Okay. Thank you.